So, discussing the triads of the Bhagavad Gita, we have discussed one of them. What are the gifts? Now, we come to the next one. There are types of intellect. Here also, the same pattern has been followed. The types of intellect have been classified under Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So just a word about these gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. I know that most of you are familiar with the terms. Just a recapitulation. So Sattva, Rajas and Tamas are the primal constituents of Prakriti. Prakriti is the primordial nature. From the grossest to the finest, everything in nature, physical and psychical, mind is also part of the nature. It is just a subtle part. So physical and psychical is composed of the three gunas, which coexist and are inseparable. One or the other predominates. Sometimes Sattva predominates, sometimes Rajas predominates. So preponderance of one or another of the gunas in varying degrees makes the difference in everything. Between humans and humans, between humans and animals. Now the gunas are generally translated as qualities, but they are not qualities. They are constituents. Like a rope, if there are three strands, one red, one white and one black. So you intertwine them and make one rope out of that. So those three are not the qualities of a rope, they are the constituents of a rope. Rope is made out of them. So everything in the universe, physical and psychical, is made of these gunas. It is not they are not the qualities. So we know that Sattva is the principle of poise, conducive to purity, knowledge and joy. Rajas is the principle of motility, leading to activity, desire, restlessness and disquietude. Tamas is the principle of inertia, resulting in inaction, dullness and delusion. Sattva is the highest, Rajas is somewhere in between and Tamas is the lowest, we know. Now, we will discuss, after having discussed the three kinds of gifts, we will discuss three types of Buddhi, or the three types of intellect following the same pattern. Buddhi, you must be familiar with the term. It is a part of what is called the Antahkarana. Karana means instrument, Anta is inside. Karana instrument, why? Because through that we know. It is the instrument of knowing. So according to its function, Antahkarana is one, but according to its function, it is known by four names. Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. It's the same thing. So just like a person, when he is in his home, he is also a father, he may be also a brother, he is a husband, he is also a son. To his parents he is a son, to his children he is a father. So he is the same person, but the functions are different. So he is known by these four. Similarly here also. Antahkarana is one, but it is known by these four things. So Buddhi is also naturally a part of Antahkarana. Not strictly part, but as I have told you, when the same Antahkarana functions in four ways, four names are given, so that we can understand. So Buddhi, what does Buddhi do? When the Antahkarana is working as Buddhi, what does it do? It is called determinative faculty. It determines. Nishchayatmika Buddhi. Nishchay, you know. So something has been given to eat. Now, when it is given, we start thinking. Will this be tasty? Is this clean? Is it beneficial to my health? All these things we cogitate. So first of all, this cogitation is what is called manas. It's the same antakarna. So when it cogitates, it's called manas. Then finally you decide whether to eat or not to eat. When you decide, at that time, buddhi is functioning. That is called the function of the buddhi, which determines. So 3 types of buddhi we will discuss, the highest, mediocre and the lowest kind. Broadly classified as we have seen. So what is the motive for discussing this? This helps us to decide which kind of buddhi we have and compare it with the buddhi we should have. Simple as that. So, buddhi is determinative faculty. Decisions have to be made at every level, all the time. We have to make some decision or the other. Now, do we discuss all those decisions? I mean, will this discussion help us to decide on everyday mundane decisions also? No. That's up to our common sense. For that, a different kind of training, much lower, is sufficient. Gita is a scripture. Scripture means it wants to make us progress spiritually. So the decisions regarding the spiritual life will determine what type of buddhi we have, ultimately. So here, when the Gita demarcates the types of buddhi, it is with regard to spiritual life, of what a person thinks. How he decides in mundane life, that does not really affect his spiritual life. Of course, a person should be rational at all levels. But here, the classification according to the Gita is how a person is inclined to spiritual life, how he thinks about that, how he interprets those realities. This we should remember in mind. So, if a person's buddhi or the intellect is not functioning properly according to the Gita, he will give precedence only to worldly life. He will never even think about spiritual life. So all these things are, if you read the Kathopanishad, it has been mentioned. What do those persons think? Iha loko nasti paraiti. Iha loko. This world is all there is. Na asti para. There is no other world than this. So, eat, drink and make merry. This kind of buddhi, naturally there is no question of spiritual progress because it does not even believe in spiritual realities. So we will have to know with what kinds of buddhi, and later on dhriti also, because when Sri Krishna starts mentioning buddhi, he tells him, I am telling you about both buddhi and dhriti. That's why I am mentioning dhriti here. So we should know with what kinds of buddhi and dhriti we can attain the highest goal of life, and what kind of buddhi will lead to our further immersion in this sansara. So now, please repeat after me. You are seeing the words there as before. Buddhe bhedam triteshchaiva gunakas trividham shrinu Procyamanam asheshena Prithatvena dhananjaya. O Dhananjaya, listen to the classification of the intellect as well also of fortitude, which indeed is threefold, according to the gunas, while it is being stated elaborately and clearly. So God, Krishna, will state elaborately and clearly for us Three types of buddhi, three types of dhriti. First, buddhi. So Dhananjaya, Dhanam Jayati. Dhanam we all know. We know very well. So this Dhananjaya is the name of Arjuna, one of the names of Arjuna. When Yudhishthira was doing the Rajsuya Yajna, so Rajsuya Yajna, no, maybe you know, it was a huge sacrifice done by Chakravarti Rajas, means were very great emperors. So a horse was just left on its own. The horse used to roam from kingdom to kingdom, and a huge army used to follow that horse of the emperor who was doing the Rajsuya Yajna. So any kingdom which the horse enters, the army will enter and tell the king, either you come under us or be ready for war. That way, the emperor conquered many territories. So Yudhishthir also did the Rajsuya Yajna. And of course, Arjuna was leading the army. So many people gave him many who wanted to quarrel with the Pandavas. So better make peace. So he got lots of riches. So his name, one of the name was Dhananjaya. So he got a lot of riches for the Pandavas. So Shrinu. Shrinu means listen. Be alert and listen to me. What? Bhedam. Bhedam means classification. Different kinds of buddhi of the intellect or the intellect, which is possessed of the functions of judgment, etc. Cha. Cha in Sanskrit means and. And dhriti, or fortitude, which is a function of the intellect. What kinds of, how many kinds are there? Three. Trividham. Gunataha, according to the gunas, based on the classification of the gunas. Prochyamanam, while it is being stated by me to you, Krishna says. Asheshena, elaborately, fully, and prithakttvena, clearly, by distinguishing what should be accepted, what should be rejected, what type of buddhi we should have, what type we shouldn't have. So this is the introductory verse. Now he will start telling about the buddhi. So next verse. Again he starts from the highest. This is the highest kind of buddhi, according to spiritual values we are judging here, mind you. So please repeat after me as before. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham chaya veti buddhi sa partha sattiki. So, pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha, karya, akarya, bhaya, abhaya. Pravritti means doing something to get something. Nivritti means withdrawing oneself from all selfish activities, all worldly activities. Karya, what should be done. Akarya, what should not be done. Bhaya, fear. Abhaya, fearlessness. Very simple. So, pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha, karya, akarya, bhaya, abhaya. And bandham moksham. Bandham means bondage. Moksha is liberation. So, that buddhi which knows these things correctly. Knows what? Pravritti, what is pravritti, what is nivritti, what is karya, what is akarya, what is bhaya, abhaya. The buddhi which knows these things correctly is the sattvika buddhi. Now what should we understand by knowing? What is the correct knowledge we have to know? So pravritti and nivritti are actually very big subjects. We won't go into detail because they need a discussion, separate discussion, each of them. So, pravritti is known as the karma marga. Karma marga, when we do work for worldly prosperity, to get this, to get that, worldly success, any kinds of worldly success. It may be name and fame, money, material things, etc., etc. So that is the karma, way of karma. And nivritti is sannyasa marga. When a person gives up all these worldly pursuits. And karya is what is our duty, what should be done. Akarya is what is not our duty, what should not be done. And bhaya abhaya, we have seen. So, bandham and moksham, we have to understand. What is bandham? What is bondage here? In the path of action, in pravritti marga, a person is always doing something to get something worldly. So what does it lead to? It leads to our identity with the mind and body. Because if we have to achieve anything worldly, it will have to be through the mind and body. There is no other way of achieving it. So when we use the mind and body in this way, first of all, we have to be perfectly sure that we are the body, is it not? Now, suppose I want to eat ice cream. So I am perfectly sure that I am the body, because otherwise I will want to eat ice cream, because the ice cream can only be enjoyed through the body. And suppose I work to get that ice cream. Now whenever I eat an ice cream and enjoying it, actually what am I telling myself? I am telling myself again and again, I am the body and I am enjoying this. Indirectly, is it not? So my identification with the body is getting stronger and stronger any time I hanker for and enjoy things relating to the body. So this pravritti marga, this working for anything worldly, in this way, it slowly makes our identification with the body stronger and stronger and stronger. Now the problem, there is no problem. Keep on eating ice creams. But there is a problem. When we will have stomach ache, then we will have diabetes. This tremendous identification with the body will lead us to tremendous suffering also. So while eating our ice cream, we told ourselves again and again, I am the body. Now suddenly when you have diabetes, even if you tell yourself, I am not the body, it is useless. It is useless because you are not telling it from the heart. So when the thing is, when you lie yourself a million times to yourself, then even if you tell the truth, you yourself will not believe it. So exactly the same thing happens. And because this terrible identification with the body keeps on getting stronger, it puts her into greater and greater difficulties. Leads us to never-ending problems. So this, who knows, who realizes this, that this is bondage, knows correctly. That is called the Sattvika Buddhi. That this Mithya Jnana means false knowledge of being the body, will get strengthened. And that is the cause of bondage. And what will he realize? The person of Sattvika intellect, he will also realize that the nature of moksha is completely opposite. It is freedom from avidya, freedom from ignorance. And it is brought out by the knowledge of the ultimate reality, which is called God or Brahman, whatever. And the way of achieving this moksha is always through nivritti, through withdrawal from all these pursuits. I don't want diabetes and I don't want the ice cream also. Only one thing we cannot get. If one thing comes, the other has to come. Because it is coming through the same medium. So how can you avoid it? If only ice cream came, that's no problem. But it comes with a host of other problems. That is the thing. So, that intellect consisting of the certitude born from the valid means of knowledge and which realizes the true nature of all this is called the highest intellect or the sattvika intellect. So the simple meaning of this verse, what it is? It is that the person whose buddhi is functioning correctly, who has a proper intellect, knows that actions done with any motive is a karya, means that which should not be done, because it will lead to bondage and fear and misery. And the opposite, unselfish action done for God, always should be done, because that will lead to freedom and ultimately infinite bliss. So that type of intellect, all of us want to connect to somebody, like nowadays all this Facebook, etc., all this is happening. People are always dying to connect with somebody. They are feeling some vacuum inside, we always want to connect with somebody. So, the man of proper intellect realizes, yes, I have to connect with somebody, but that somebody with whom connection is worthwhile is only one. God. Any other thing, if we desire to connect with, it is a part of the samsara. And this samsara is a product of ignorance. So whenever we desire any connection in this world, we are going more and more deeper into this creation of ignorance. Therefore, we are going deeper into ignorance itself. This the man of proper intellect understands, because generally, how do people think? Most of us, we think that we will be happy if we get some particular worldly thing. Either it can be material, it can be a person, it can be a circumstance. So we are feeling always a lack of something in our heart. Is it not? We want something. Everybody knows that feeling. Now an ordinary person, when he gets what he wants, thinks he is getting more freedom. You have to think, these are to be thought on deeply. Whenever we get what we desire, suppose a person desires money, one fine day he gets a lot of money. That joy means what? He experiences freedom. Freedom from that lack. Okay, now I have money, I can go here, I can do this, I can do that. So an ordinary person, whenever some worldly desire of his is satisfied, he thinks he has attained that much freedom. Is it not? That is the main, if you go deep root, Swamiji has said that even a thief steals. Why? Because this urge for freedom is guiding him. He thinks he will have more freedom if he gets something belonging to others. These are very fine things. When we really introspect, we will realize. So, this mistaking something for freedom, this is a huge mistake on the ordinary person, which ordinary person makes. A spiritual person sees that whenever our desires are satisfied also, it is not leading to freedom. Actually, it is leading to more bondage. Because we will not stop there. One thing, one desire satisfied will create another desire. Second desire will create a third desire. So he will see that even when a desire is satisfied, his immersion in the world is becoming deeper and deeper and deeper. So these two types of intellect we have seen. The same thing has been got by Mr. A and Mr. B. Mr. A thinks by getting that I have obtained freedom. Mr. B thinks this is a source of bondage, so give it up. So where is the difference? The difference is in the intellect, in the understanding. One who knows it perfectly, who can discriminate, will give those things up. While the other, while getting those things, he will celebrate. Grandson has been born, give a huge party. So, this is how ordinary persons like us think. So, what is the practical application of this? You see, it is my saints have put it very frankly because they were not afraid of anything. They said in these simple words that wanting and getting are both bondages. Don't think that getting is freedom. An ordinary person think wanting is bondage, but when I get that thing, I will experience freedom. They say no. As far as worldly things are considered, wanting is also bondage, getting them are also bondage. The first bondage is recognized immediately. When I want $1,000, I cannot get, I feel I am in bondage. Immediately I recognize the bondage. But the second bondage, that to recognize even getting something as bondage, that does not come easily. That is first mistaken as freedom, but later we realize that also is a bondage. When a son was born to Buddha, he did not celebrate. He said, oh, another bondage. He named it Rahul. And he immediately gave up the word. So, both wanting and getting, both are poison. The latter is sweet poison. For the time it will look sweet. But poison, whatever it is, it has only one function: to kill. So, these things, whether you want them or you get them, there is no difference. Both are like poison. So, what is the practical implication of this? The practical implication is this, that give up this inclination which we have 24 hours to get something from the world. Give up selfishness. Do the duties which fall to your lot with full concentration, but with only one aim: liberation. That is all. There should be no other aim in life. So, to quote a saint, when we perform duties like this, with that type of intelligence, which recognizes that both are bondages, it will save you like swimming does when a person is about to drown. If a person is drowning, what will help him? Swimming. So when we do duties in this way, that will also help us. Then it will save you as sun's rays from a dark pit. someone is walking in darkness, there is a huge hole, he will be injured seriously. But suddenly sun's rays come out, so he sees that danger. He is saved. Similarly, a person is saved with the correct buddhi. And medicine when struck by disease. So as medicine saves us from disease, this type of buddhi will save us from this worldly fever. So the intellect which does not make any mistake in discernment as to what should be done, what should not be done, which recognizes all selfish actions as positively dangerous and fit only to be discarded. That intellect is Sattviki. So just like a person, if you take a jewel to some jeweler, you will examine it carefully, like this, all these kinds of things. So, Jnaneshwari it is said, just as a jeweler tests genuine and counterfeit gems, such an intellect scrutinizes. He does not accept blindly. Do what your father has done, do what your forefather has done, why question? Again and again we discuss Western philosophy. Again and again Socrates says, the unexamined life is of no value. If you have not thought over what you are doing, this is the course which has been charted out for me. What will I get from this? What will one thing lead to another? Will I really get satisfaction? Has this path been followed by others? What did they get? Did they get fulfillment? So, the intellect which carefully examines each and every aspect of our life and then makes the correct decision is called the Sattviki intellect. So this type of intellect is far beyond the reach of ordinary persons like us. We cannot even imagine this sort of thing. If someone would tell us from tomorrow, no parties, no restaurants, no, within brackets, social life, no talking nonsense, what's the use of living? What type of life is that? The problem is, we are in no way ready to even appreciate these things. Because these things are so real to us. It has become such a part and parcel of our life that it is impossible to think further. So slowly, we have to learn. And if we don't learn willingly, some blows will come. Those blows will teach us. So God waits. But he sees this person is not coming to me. Okay, give him a tap on the head. So, slowly, we will progress, and then when we examine life correctly, in the light of the scriptures, we will come to a correct decision. So this is the highest type of intellect, which is our aim. Now next one, but it is not there. It has been missed. So you can just, it's very simple. Same words are repeated. This is the mediocre intellect. So please repeat after me. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam cha karyameva cha ayathavat prajanati buddhi sa partha rajasi. So all those words are here only. Karya, cha, akarya, examined correctly, interpreted correctly, and took the right decisions. But the second type of buddhi does not understand this. It understands X as Y. That is called in Sanskrit here ayathavat. As I told you, sometimes makes the opposite meaning. So yathavat, as it is. Ayathavat, as it is not. This type of buddhi, rajasic buddhi, all these things, dharma, adharma, karya, akarya, he understands wrongly. So, he has a distorted apprehension of all these things. So, there the intellect, yaya, with which prajanati, one understands, ayathavat, wrongly. It does not understand as it is. Or, it goes into doubts. That is sanshaya. Is this thing like this or not? Who knows? He will doubt everything. Oh, Krishna has said this. Krishna, maybe he was mistaken. Who knows? Nobody knows. Who will give the authority? So, he begins to doubt everything. We are all doubting Thomases. If we had complete faith in these teachings, then the whole life would change. Long ago, a few years ago, when I used to, in that old apartment when we were there, so we were talking about Buddhism. So Buddhism, Buddhas, what is known as Buddhism today. So it says that everything is full of misery in this world.
Full of what?
Misery. So I asked, all those words there, I asked all the parents that Buddha has said this, Sri Ramakrishna has said that the world is like a plant full of thorns. All are senior citizens, all those devotees were senior citizens. All of them have children, some even grandchildren. So I just asked, do you really believe in this? If you believe, how many of you have told, you all say that I want the best for my child. I love my child so much. Has even one of you told your child, my child, this world is full of suffering. There is no happiness here. If you want peace, you renounce the world. This means two things. You don't believe yourself. Second thing, even if you believe, you are so selfish that you don't want the best for your child. Not 1% answered to this. So this is our life. This is our thinking. We don't want to face. We don't really believe these things. Yeah. Sri Ramakrishna said, go to a temple, give some flowers, Sri Ramakrishna will be pleased. That's all. But when our attitude will be like this, we will just swim on the surface. We cannot go deeper. That is the thing. So, this type of intellect is also always doubting. Like we are also always doubting. We don't have full faith in these things. So, dharma and adharma, we all know the meaning. Dharma is a big subject. We had one discussion, the essence of dharma. So, in short, dharma is what is sanctioned by the scriptures. And adharma is what is prohibited by the scriptures. Just to put in a few words. And karyam cha, what ought to be done, what ought not to be done. So, this karyam and akaryam, what generally anything we do for selfishness purposes, as we have last time seen, it is either for some seen result or for some some unseen result. So here also the same thing is said. Seen result is the things of the world. Unseen result from Vedic sacrifices and all may be gained after death. So we won't repeat all those things. So in short, a person of Rajasi Buddhi has no discernment. Like a blind man cannot distinguish between day and night. He also cannot distinguish between his real duty and his attachment to the world. So Gyaneshwari says, one who goes to purchase jewels with eyes shut can hardly get the best ones. Or if a foolish person invites all sorts of guests to his house, rogues, thieves, etc., etc., so naturally he can expect no good result if he does not discriminate. So such a person, because of no proper discrimination, he does all kinds of actions without thinking. So naturally when you act without thinking, you may do some good, but you will do some bad also. So what is the cause of this misunderstanding? The cause is this Rajas. Rajas means Rajasic tendencies. Rajas symbolizes desire and restlessness. These two things are there. He is always wanting something. That person, if he has too much Rajas, and he will not be able to sit still. If you ask him to sit, either he will start shaking his legs or looking here and there. He cannot sit still. Too much restlessness. So, this is the influence of Rajas. To quote Swami Satprakashananda, the influence of Rajas on a human's understanding diverts his attention to the satisfaction of the desires to which he is attached and which he finds conducive to his gain and pleasure. From this standpoint of egotistic interest and happiness, he sets the standard of right and justice. What is right for him? Only that he will uphold as right or legitimate, which are the means that will best help him to understand the object of it, to get the object of his desire. So what will help me satisfy my desire is right. Everything else is wrong. The influence of Rajas is the cause of 3/4 of the false and distorted understanding of mankind. So this kind of person, Rajas will take him to the opposite direction. Any kind of attachment vitiates the mind, makes the mind impure, and gives rise to bad qualities like selfishness, partiality, etc. When this happens, our very standard of judgment changes. Such a mind cannot see things in the right perspective. It cannot analyze the world rationally. One who is attached to a person or a thing cannot see its defects. Whenever we attach to any one person, we cannot see the defects. If you say something about some person to anybody, but as soon as you come to his son or daughter, even if you say one word here and there, even if it is true, you are finished. So, because he cannot think rationally. He is so much attached to some persons that his covering has been put over his eyes. His rationality is gone. So, similarly, if a person is averse to some person or thing, the same thing happens. He cannot recognize his good qualities. Because attachment and aversion are the same thing. It both act as a sort of covering over our mind and we cannot see properly. So our mind becomes impure, like Jnaneshwari says, like water in which mud is dissolved. So that mud will not let us see the clear water. So attachment and aversion bind us to the world and then we cannot see the world as it is. Simple as that. So when we cannot see the world as it is, we only see the world as we want to see it. A young man will see everything so nice. Oh, it's a pleasure garden. So many things to see, so many things to enjoy. Go here and there. Same person, when he is not being able to walk without a walking stick, he cannot see properly, he cannot hear properly. Then the same person will tell, oh my God, this world is horrible, so much suffering, so much. Both of them are not seen correctly. The first out of his attachment, second out of his aversion due to the suffering. So both these are great impediments to rational thought. That is the thing. Since we cannot see the world correctly, naturally we don't know what we should accept, what we should give up. So in these Rajasic persons, what is the guiding factor, the determining factor? It is only their desires, unpurified emotions. So these desires make them blind. That is why in the Gita it is said that this desire has been compared to a huge tree. It is slowly growing. All the time it is growing. With every grandchild it is growing, mind you. So it has become a huge tree by this time. So it says, with the sword of discrimination, cut this terrible tree which is born out of attachment. Otherwise, our eyes will never be clean. They will always have something over it. And whatever harms us, whatever harms our interest, we will consider wrong. So rational thinking, reason, purified intellect, everything will be tossed out of the window. And we will be in that small circle of ours, thinking wrongly, doing wrongly, making the wrong decisions, until by God's grace we wake up, or we'll be constantly doubting. So naturally, if there is doubt, we cannot follow correctly with conviction. If we go outside and tell the driver, some driver to go to Vancouver, one driver will say Vancouver is this side, one will say this side, one will say that side, then we are in doubt. So naturally we cannot go till we are sure. Because we always doubt these spiritual teachings, we cannot adopt a firm course in our lives. So this doubt is a terrible enemy. So a person of Rajasic intellect, first of all, either he understands these things wrongly or he doubts them. So in either way, he cannot follow the proper course which has been told by the saints and sages. Now we come to the last, the lowest type of intellect, that is the Tamasi intellect. So Sattvika intellect correctly sees things because there is no attachment in that intellect. Scrutinizes, sees, rationally thinks, takes the correct decision. Rajasic intellect is confused. He thinks the wrong way. Tamasi, the lowest person, lowest kind of intellect, it thinks in completely the opposite way. So someone will tell him to go north, he will go south. So let us see what is the Tamasi intellect. Oh, this Rajas? Yeah. Oh, Tamasi. tamas is not there. You please repeat after me. Same words. Adharmam dharma itiya manyate tamasavrita sarvarthan viparitangscha buddhi sapathar tamasi. So manyate means things. So what does he think? Adharma, dharma viti. What is adharma? What is not the right thing? It means sees as right. So sarvatha, all these things, karya, vaya, dharma, he sees sarvatha viparita. Viparita means opposite. If there is white, he will see black. That kind of intellect, which sees everything opposite to as it is. See, these are extreme, we should know. There may be innumerable kinds. Krishna mentions the extreme. Sattvika, those who always, they are perfect people. Those are also very rare. Maybe one Ramakrishna, one Buddha, one Jesus has been born in centuries. And the other hand, this person sees completely opposite. That is also very rare. Nobody is always blundering. So we stand somewhere in between. So, O Partha, that intellect is born of tamas, which is being covered by darkness and considers vice as virtue, and verily perceives all things contrary to what they are. So, reverses all values. So, the buddhi or understanding under the influence of tamas cause light darkness and darkness light. Takes what is not dharma and upholds it as dharma. Persists in doing the things which should not be done. And does not do what is his real duty. So tamasa is very simple. You can just conclude it in a few more. So you already broken up the words. Tamas, you all know, manyate means thinks, considers. Adharma, dharma viti. He considers wrong as right, right as wrong. So this type of intellect reverses all values. Sarvartha means everything. Viparita, contrary to what they are. So, in his own way, our Jnaneshwari says that how does he takes black to be white and white to be black? So it says, similar as they say, what is night time to the demons is daytime for others. Or to an unlucky one, where there appears a heap of coal, where there is in fact a big treasure. So the intellect that converts all right things into wrong ones and considers as defects all good qualities, that intellect is called tamasi or perverse or tamas-ridden intellect. So taking it to a higher spiritual level, what does it mean? Sarvartha viparita, opposite, the highest level, that considering oneself as the body, not as the Atma. It is understanding completely wrong. Thinking what is seen as the external world, thinking it to be real, but thinking God to be unreal. Disregarding the views of the saints and sages, thinking that materialistic people know better. Not striving for eternal bliss and considering the trivial pleasures born of the sense organs to be real. So here, we are doing all these things. These all things are contrary. First, thinking oneself to be the body, not the Atma, thinking that this world is real, God is unreal, disregarding the views of all these great people, thinking that we know much better, and not striving for the bliss which will never go, but busy in Starbucks coffee. So what is the difference now? We have discussed Satviki, Rajasi and Tamasi Buddhi. So Rajasi and Tamasi Buddhi appears to be similar. What is the difference? Difference is not understanding something the way it should be understood is Rajasic. And understanding it in the completely opposite way is Tamasic. So very fine distinction has been made. And of course, these are extreme cases. So, through this analysis, we can introspect and decide, are we really trying to be spiritual? First of all, do we really believe these things or not? That is a fundamental question. Again and again, Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, faith, faith, faith. Why? Because he knows we don't have faith. It is just lip service. We don't believe with all our heart. If somebody tells us outside there is a pot, it is only poison. Suppose somebody tells us. If we believe, shall we go there? Shall we drink that? We can never drink it. But the same sense is just telling us same thing. This world, if you go in the world with selfish motives, what you will get finally is only suffering. But we don't believe. No, they are told, but we are very intelligent. We will somehow avoid it. Everybody thinks like that. So that kind of faith we don't have. So, first, develop that faith. When these people say, take it as gospel truth. Have that faith. Then reason upon that. If that is true, then what should be the course of action? How I should guide my life? And then in the light of intelligence, give up what is untrue, what is asat. If you keep holding to that, then what is the use? The attempt should be made. At least. We cannot become Vivekanandas. It is impossible. We cannot become Nagamaisha and all that. But at least, when this feeling will come, first thing we will see is we will become calm. That is the first thing which will happen. And then we will realize that only attachment and selfishness makes us disturbed. Otherwise, there is nothing in the world to disturb us. Events are not disturbing us. How we are interpreting those events disturb us. These two, even if we make the first step towards giving up, so the first thing we will see, our mind has become shant, a little peace is coming in our life. And daily, each and everything which is happening in the family or in the outside world does not make us shake like that. Every little thing is having an influence on our mind. Where is the freedom? The more we are attached, the more we are susceptible. See, if I stand here and put 100 strings around and tie my body with all those things, so what will happen? Any string is giving a pull, I will feel the pull. Will not. So the more we are engrossed in these worldly things, this web, naturally that world is constantly changing. Today good, today bad. The more we are attached to that, the more we will be disturbed, because we are attaching ourselves to this. Simple. This is attachment. No? This is attachment. Attaching something to something. Now when I pull this will be pulled. In fact, if I tie 10 such things, if any of these things is pulled, my hand will be pulled. It is that simple. So here also what we are doing, our minds have become completely scattered. I was completely fine, I was in a good mood, and by God's grace, then I opened the television. Gone. I will see something, hear something, then phone someone else. You know, that and this thing has happened, I am so disturbed. In Antarctica this has happened, in Greenland this has happened. It had happened in Antarctica, but you brought it into your drawing room. So whose fault was that? So needlessly we are scattering ourselves in all directions, being disturbed, and the more disturbed we become like this, the more we like to be disturbed, the more we are moving away from what is real. And once it becomes an addiction, you can't do without it. That's the problem. That is the daily dose of opium. 2 hours of idiot box. Otherwise life is worth nothing. So, these are the types of intellect. The first is absolutely clear intellect, very little of attachment, if any. It sees the world to be what it is. It takes the right decisions. It stops indulging in anything which makes him want something from the world. Second is understanding something as other than what it is, therefore not being able to make the correct decision, making mistakes. And the third is always doing the opposite thing. So these are the types of buddhis. Now it depends upon us which we will take. So that is the buddhi yoga which has also been given in the Gita. Sri Krishna says that yoga of right understanding. He says, if somebody is really devoted to me, somebody is really trying to attain me, then I give him buddhi yoga. Buddhi yogam dadami. I give him so that with that intellect he can come to me. With the purified mind he can come to me. Otherwise he will continue to see black as white, white as black. So naturally, if you cannot see correctly, you will make the wrong decision. So in the Mahabharata, the story you all know, then the Pandavas had made one palace. So what was the speciality of the palace? The lakes look like solid ground. And the solid ground looked like there was some water. So Duryodhana came. He thought he was the solid ground ahead. He fell into water. Then another place, he lifted his cloth so that it wouldn't become wet. It was dry land. So Draupadi saw everything from above. And she made one comment which may have been responsible for the Mahabharata war. So the thing is here, not seeing correctly cannot result in right decisions, even in worldly life, even in spiritual life. So let us stop here, it's becoming quite warm.
Just a rest.
What to do? There's no escape.
We can open the door and
So let us conclude this one. Om